Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to our second episode of Back to the Basics. WWF or WWE?
Man, that's exactly what we're going to get into on this episode is what was better, WWE or WWF? We dive deep into that concept on this episode.
Yeah, dude. Giant flying beefcakes? Count me in.
Oh, dude, yeah. Rock bottoms everywhere. Everybody's getting a stone cold
All
stunner.
kinds of stuff about personas. Are they still a thing? Old school ones compared to new school ones and all that fun bullshit. Eddie's about to get power bombed.
No way, man. I'm going to cut a promo and I'm going to lay the smack down and let you all know that we are available on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out, Back to the Basics.
Yeah, we also do live streams a couple times out of the week over on twitch.tv/Back to the Basics.
Dude, we got to play some wrestling games over on Twitch.
Yeah, dude. I'm going to literally power bomb you with all 64 bits of the Nintendo.
I would love to do like a Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. So we're going to dive deep into the episode. Let's get it rolling, man.
Let's go. What's up, brother?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, man?
You got like this serious persona to you today right now.
I just got in the mode, the zone, you know.
Sun's out, guns out?
Yeah, man. Hey, it's summer, baby. It's summer.
The flex. I knew you were just like waiting till like, hey, as soon as he hits record, I'm just gonna flex on him.
Yeah, I just gotta flex on everybody out there.
Do it.
Nah, man. But today, the reason why I'm in the zone.
What's that?
Is because we talking about
what are we talking
the one, the only WWF.
There you go.
And WWE. And what's the difference? WWE versus WWF.
Is there a difference?
We about to get into it right now. That's my little promo. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if you could tell.
Was that a promo?
Like, I got to work on it. And then that's the thing.
What would you grade that promo? More towards the WWF side or more towards the WWE side?
That was definitely WWE. That was definitely WWE.
Got
you know,
you.
I wasn't talking trash on nobody. I wasn't, I was.
They don't talk trash on anybody. What's going? Okay, dude. Okay, I've been wanting to have the conversation with you for a long time. What is happening? Obviously, growing up in the 80s and 90s, anybody under the sun knew what WWF was.
Oh.
Okay. Dude, it was on pay-per-view television. Do you remember spending $60
I mean, you
to
still
watch
pay-per-view
WrestleMania?
now, but it's a lot different.
Pay-per-view?
Monthly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, dude, wrestling has always been a huge staple for me in my childhood growing up.
Oh, definitely.
Huge, right?
Yeah. I came in a little later in the game, but still, yeah. You know, the 90s marked like wrestling for me. That's when I was introduced to wrestling was in the 90s. Raw.
What?
Raw is War. WWF.
So was it Raw? What took your breath away when you were like, holy shit, what persona, what wrestler, what little mixture, what beef?
Yeah. So for me, the persona that the end all be all, The Rock, dude, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his character in the 90s was just like talking trash, taking names, know your role, shut your mouth. Like he was he was whipping everybody's ass. Lay your candy ass, smack down. Like it doesn't matter. He had the promos. He had the intensity. He had the connection with the fans. Like he had it all, dude. And
the electrifying,
most
electrifying man.
Beefcake, yeah. And see, that's the catchphrase. The most electrifying man in sports and entertainment.
Dude.
Like he just like even doing that right now. I got a little goosebumps because I could feel it. Like he like his electricity just went through my body.
Yeah.
And see, that's something that he had that you could connect with as a fan. Just sit through a television.
Yeah.
Like you're not even in the arena.
I mean, as a kid though, we always had that same energy in the living room, like we were in. You know what I'm saying? We had our little signs.
Yes, as a kid, you were there.
Yeah.
You were there as a kid, but even as an adult, even now, you know, someone like that gets on TV and you're instantly transported there. if
Yeah.
they have that kind of energy. And see, that to me, that's one of the things that's missing with WWE now versus what WWE had back then, or WWF, is there's a huge difference in that energy,
Yeah.
that electrifying personality. Not a lot of wrestlers have that right now.
Dude, you actually I stepped away from wrestling for many years.
Yeah.
And you we had started working together all those years back.
Oh.
And I don't know, you had said something or I had said something, and basically your antenna, your ears perked up, and you were like, wrestling, and you just went off. Like, you were just like, and you were telling me all this stuff, and it was when, I think it was when Roman Reigns was just making like a name for himself, and you were like, oh, I like this guy named Roman Reigns, and he's got Seth Rollins in this, and I was just like, and
He's
you were
kind of
telling
a badass.
me, you were telling me like the newer state of heels and the newer state of like all these different personalities, and CM Punk, I think that was when he was leaving and stuff like that.
And he was sick too, dude. He was one of the last personalities that was like, he was almost like a Stone Cold, like just taking shit to the
rebel.
boss.
A rebel,
just a rebel,
not giving a shit.
And that was big in the 90s in WWF, is you had that rebel. You had Stone Cold, who was going away from the company and rebelling and telling his boss straight up, F you. You know, nobody else was doing that. Even The Rock, he was a corporate superstar. So he was part of corporate.
Yeah.
But then you had Stone Cold, who was just giving the F you to The Rock, and it
was great.
Those two personalities clashing. They had like 3 WrestleManias together, dude.
Yeah, it's
like
good.
that is a feud for all time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you don't get now, is these like epic feuds, these two gigantic megastars that come to clash at a head.
Oh, they really did that with Brock Lesnar. They really tried.
Yeah,
over the years.
and see, but there's nobody, I feel, on the same level as Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is one of the last main like beefcakes.
Yeah.
Like, not taking shit. He's going to go in there, he's going to suplex you, he's going to whoop your ass, hit you in the mouth, and he's going to get out with his WWE championship.
Yeah, he's a threat, you know, and I like that because he sells, right?
And he's not going to do a lot of talking. His personality, he doesn't need to cut promos.
You know what I think that was, I don't know if this was all like planned, but what was really interesting with somebody like Brock Lesnar, to get you watching that wrestling match was like, this is the dude who grew up, right? He like broke records. He's like a legit wrestler.
He's a wrestler.
Was he Olympian?
Yeah.
Is he?
He I think, I don't know if he has any medals, but he was like right there with Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle actually has a medal.
Yeah, he's an
medals.
Olympian.
He's an Olympian,
I love
Olympic
Kurt
gold
Angle.
medalist.
But when him in his career, where he actually left the WWE, WWF, and went to the UFC.
Oh, dude.
And so, you know, this whole
what they call real fighting.
Yeah, this whole stigma of wrestling and not being real and stuff like that. You have this guy step into, you know, it's still a very physical sport.
Oh, yeah.
But when you have somebody like from just somebody's like, oh shit, that dude left that and went to this, like, oh, now he's like fighting. You know what I'm saying? And he went in there and he, you know, did what he did for his career, and then him coming back into wrestling was really interesting. And the WrestleMania that we went to, he was wrestling Seth Rollins.
That was that match. Do you remember that match?
I was drunk, but
it don't matter. But I'm sure you remember it though.
Yeah,
I
remember the
Seth
stage.
Rollins at the end swinging the belt above his head.
Oh, I remember the stage looked like a quarter.
Dude,
because we were in that San Francisco Levi Stadium, and we were so high up,
so
dude.
far back.
The stage was just like this speck on
the ground. It was really small,
but it was amazing.
Dude, but being in that atmosphere,
the atmosphere of the crowd was one of the best things I've ever felt. It was honestly, there was like this, you know, a lot of people out there, you know, you might not believe in like vibes
and energy,
yeah, but you go into a fucking wrestling arena,
dude,
and tell me you don't feel the energy.
Yeah, you can feel
it, dude. And it's almost like not meditation, but it's almost like cleansing.
Yeah.
It's like this really strong energy like coming through you, and then when you leave, you're on such a high. Yeah. You're on such a high when you're walking out of that.
I remember just walking in and you're walking in with all those people who are there for the same purpose and the same reason and share the same passion that you do.
Yeah.
And you're walking in and you're looking around and everybody's dressed up and they have their title belts and their the Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt, Hulkamania, The Rock. I remember telling you, I was like, dude, I want to buy a Rock t-shirt. I was like, but they're not selling any Rock merchandise. And I was really sad. And I was like, he's probably not going to show up because they're not selling any merchandise. And what happened that night?
The Rock showed up.
Smell. Dude.
That moment, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if you want to tell people this, but we both teared up.
Yeah.
I got that video still.
No, yes, we're gonna have to drop it so everybody can see sometime. But dude, yeah, we both shared like an experience, and that's what I'm talking about is that energy.
For you, it was The Rock. For me, it was Shawn Michaels.
Oh, dude.
Shawn Michaels is always my favorite. Shawn Michaels was the energy for me growing up in the 90s. You talk about that he steps into the ring and then he does his flex.
He owns it, right?
Dude, he just owns it.
Just flexing, right?
Dude, he owns it. The Heartbreak Kid. I remember when he came down from the rafters. You remember that?
Yeah.
Dude. Oh. Dude.
He had a persona, he had an energy, and that's the main thing about wrestlers back then, is it seems like the really good ones, because there was a lot of trash ones in between, but the really good ones, they would embrace this persona, and they would literally put on a show.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't so much about, like, the artistry of the wrestling and how smooth the wrestling moves were or how smooth the match went. Because they were literally punching each other in the face, kicking each other with boots, and it wasn't these big, extravagant moves, but it was the persona, the story.
And I always love wrestling too. Every good wrestling match has this tug of war.
Yeah,
this
the back
push
and forth,
and pull, the back and the forth, leaving you as an audience member, as somebody kind of watching like this backyard or like this street brawl, right?
Where at any moment you feel like either one of them could win. You can't tell like, oh yeah, obviously this person's doing this, and this, and he's gonna win.
Yeah, there's a lot of good wrestling matches where some people come in and just wipe house. They clean house, right?
I've seen them. Yeah, they're really good. Like Brock Lesnar is one of them. He can just come in, wipe house, and win the match, and you're like, well, shit,
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Dude's literally like a mini Incredible Hulk. But
yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah. But see, that's one of the things is I feel like if you're a good wrestler and you want to be a good wrestler, especially now in the WWE, you have to capture that magic, as I call it. You have to put on that show and realize that you're spending so much time worrying about how clean the moves are or how precise it is or getting everything right. You're spending too much time doing that. Mm-hmm. Whereas you should spend more time taking in the energy that the audience is giving you and then giving it back, because they're on the edge of their seat with every word that you're saying. Mm-hmm. So make those words count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I feel like maybe a lot of wrestlers don't realize nowadays is there's so much said in nothing being said.
Yes.
The Rock would literally stop when he would be like, in the millions. And he would wait until everybody.
Millions.
Exactly. Until everybody would respond. Yeah. And millions.
Loved it.
And see, you have that connection with the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's something extremely different.
I think the last person, it's still been a couple years since I got back into wrestling.
Okay.
Basically when the WWE Network came out.
That was a cool time.
That was great. Dude. I think that was great because not only are you keeping up with all the new every month they got a new like pay-per-view, right? Mm-hmm. They got a new pay-per-view. But not only that is they had all those sideshows, Roddy Rod Piper, bless his heart, that
dude.
What was it? Reality TV show. That was fun, dude. I actually watched that. That was fun on the WWE Network. But the nostalgia of going back and watching literally everything was just like, oh, my God, this is better than Netflix.
You can literally go back and watch Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan and him body slam Andre the Giant and witness all the great moments throughout WWF and WWE
Yeah.
history. And so that was a
Big
really
time.
that was big time on their part that they did that finally. But it also changed.
I think the last person around that time was Daniel Bryan
Ooh.
to actually get like this rise out of like to make the audience part of the match
Yeah.
and it was so simple. You talk about all these personas of the past,
Mhm.
and then this was just like a really simple persona. It was yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Yes.
One word,
Yes.
and that's it.
Everybody ate it up. And when I first seen Daniel Bryan, I remember you were like, "Oh, I like this guy." And
Yeah.
I was just like, "This is lame, dude. This guy's walking around. Yes, yes."
Too positive.
But it took me a couple months, and you started saying you didn't like him, and I started liking him. Right? And I was just like, "Yo,
saw the
yes." And you were
paradigm
like,
shift.
no.
And then that's when he came up with his alternate personality, and it was basically just the change of the words. No. And then he was negative about everything, and everything was no.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And it was just so simple.
It's so simple, but it's fun. And
Exactly.
it's engaging. It's interactive.
because the audience can do it.
Yes.
It's not so
audience has a say.
it's not so extravagant and so tedious that
Mhm.
the audience can just literally say one word and they're a part of the match.
They're part of the match. I love that. But you also, that was around the same time I started watching in
NXT.
NXT.
Yeah, NXT.
And holy moly guacamole. I said that wrong.
No, I think you got it
Oh,
right.
did I say it?
Yeah.
That was, you talk about, you want to watch cringe.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah.
cringe.
Yeah, the
There's
beginning.
a wrestler whose complete persona is taking selfies. That's the moment I was just like, okay, Eddie, you got me too far down this rabbit hole of wrestling, and this dude's literally taking selfies as his entire wrestling persona.
Yeah, he had like a selfie stick and
It's a
everything.
stretch.
And he would just,
It's a stretch, dude.
Yeah.
And now I see why that exists, though,
Mm.
right? Because you have a lot of really small underdogs you could root for, a lot of really weird, quirky personas. It's fun,
Yeah.
right? If maybe people love selfies. If you love, you see that's a change of generation, right?
Yeah.
That new generation, selfies is obviously now part of our culture.
It's a thing.
It's part of the culture. And obviously, you're gonna a company like this is gonna try different things, and it's gonna try to obviously keep pulling people into wrestling,
Mhm.
right? Because selfies and wrestling really, I don't think correlate.
They don't like go together.
But you had some really amazing stars come out of NXT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Becky Lynch,
Seth Rollins.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
think pretty much everybody. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
Um,
Daniel Bryan, I believe, was coming out of NXT, and so that was when NXT was small and up and coming,
Mhm.
and they produced all these really good stars who came to Raw and SmackDown and WWE, and then grew to become champions now. You know, Becky Lynch, the man, is
what is up with that persona?
and that's her way of saying, you know, like Vince McMahon, he was the man. You know, you had
Well,
Stone
Stephanie.
Cold, yeah, and you had Stephanie, and so it was her take on like the Stone Cold persona of fighting
Is
back
that what it
against,
is?
yeah. So and they had that kind of thing where Vince McMahon would come out and he'd say, "You think you're the man? No, I'm the man."
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it was like that back and forth between like, oh, you know, I'm gonna fight against the corporate of the ladder of what is said to be like who's the man in the rung, and so that was her.
I think that would have worked better for back in the day with Stephanie.
Oh yeah,
when she
that
became in power. I'm the
Yeah.
man over over her
Yeah.
dad and stuff. That would have been fun. Or even her brother.
Shane.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like that internal struggle.
Shane O'Mac.
I always like that McMahon power. That
was
McMahon.
cool, right?
I love how Hunter Hearst Helmsley
Yeah.
like weaseled his way.
just stepped into the role, and see, that's the thing. He embraced it.
Yeah.
He embraced that, like he's literally actually married to Stephanie in real life.
Yeah.
And so everybody's like, oh, well, he probably has special treatment, and he's probably, you know, being groomed. And he's like, Okay, well, like
I am.
let's embrace that role.
Yeah.
I am being groomed to be the head of the company,
And I have power over you.
yeah,
And
now
I will fucking pedigree your ass.
exactly, and I'm gonna use my power to get what I want and put in
Yeah.
place new champions. And that was the whole run with Daniel Bryan, where they were like, "Dude, you're a B+ player.
And he
Like,
really
You're
is.
nothing.
He's a very underdog, very
Yeah.
basic underdog.
You're not a beefcake. You're not 6 foot tall. You're
You
not.
don't belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally only have one word catchphrase. Like, you're not entertaining. You know?
I remember you had said something along those lines of one thing that you do love about the WWE. Don't quote me on this, but basically one thing that you love about the newer generation of wrestling is normal people like that can get into the ring
Yeah.
instead of beefcakes.
It kind of opened it up for the everyday person, which is in some cases bad, but in some cases now you don't necessarily have to be a beefcake or someone
bodybuilder.
a bodybuilder, someone who's pumping steroids and shooting up and, trying to be really muscular to entertain fans and be a part of something so epic as WWF and WWE. Now, you and me could get in the ring with some training, and as long as we have a personality and, a persona, and we have something to offer the fans, it doesn't matter so much about what we look like, which is really cool in
Yeah.
a way. But then that's part of what might be wrong with WWE is now it's open to everyone. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry can be a wrestler now.
Yeah.
And
There's
so
a
it
couple,
loses the magic.
there's a couple things that recently has. Have you seen The Darker Side of the Ring?
No.
It's like a I don't know if it's a documentary it's on the internet.
It sounds
It's
familiar.
on YouTube, The Dark
Yeah.
Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
And I think it goes into a lot of more of the mental state
Okay.
of some of the old school wrestlers.
Oh, dude,
I
they
mean,
were
like,
getting messed up.
Like, obviously, dude, one of Icon, Razor Ramon, right?
Dude.
Just for example, the drug use
Drugs, alcohol.
is hardcore. And back in the day, like when these dudes were obviously had like the craziest lifestyle because they were obviously on steroids.
Yeah.
They were touring, right? The nation 24/7 basically. You're in another city every day pretty much, right?
Getting
Putting
on
a show.
planes,
Or multiple times a
flying,
week.
driving.
Partying, bro. Drug use out the wazoo. You
The
got the drugs
fame.
all around you, dude.
Mhm.
Right?
Fame, women, everything that
Women.
was Ric Flair. Everything that was Ric Flair's persona.
Got that Ric
persona.
Flair drip.
Yeah, everything that was him, that was probably a reality at the time,
Oh yeah, dude.
And so, yeah,
Hardcore.
I think to deal with what was going on in your life, like you said, the fame, the personality, you'd almost have to be on drugs, and
Well, it's now that especially with like the WWE has like the Hall of Fame, right?
mhm.
And you see these guys come out, and you can what hits me is you see what they did to their body
Oh yeah,
for your entertainment.
dude, yeah,
And you can see what some of these guys went through. I mean, you can look at in that I forgot what it was called, but on the WWE Network, that reality show when all of the Hall of Famers came together to live in a
yeah.
house
Yeah.
with Roddy Rod Piper. Dude, the dude's like shaking, like he
Crazy.
there was a couple scenes when he was talking about how he got clean and he got sober
Okay.
after so many years and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And you can see the years of not only weight training, the drug use, the steroids, the unhealthy lifestyle, to see what it did to their body now that they're old. And a lot of these guys die younger than normal people.
Yeah.
And what they do to their body is obviously the drugs and stuff I keep saying, but just the wrestling in and itself and the context of wrestling is fake, dude. These dudes are literally putting their bodies and their lives, right? Everyone's got a family and stuff like that, and everyone wants to be a grandfather and stuff like that. These dudes are almost, some of them are physically incapable or dead at this point
Yeah.
because of the extreme that they went to. And WWF is only one facet, right? We could talk about ECW. We could
Ooh,
talk about
dude.
Mick Foley. And
Yeah.
what he did.
I'm
For the
surprised that
entertainment
dude
of
can
people?
still walk right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
It's nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who went very hardcore. And that's what I was trying to touch on earlier, is to even deal with probably the pain that they were going through. You would almost have to be on drugs, because that's the only thing that's going to make you feel like I can get up and go do this again tonight.
Yep. Opioids for sure.
Yeah.
Like prescription pills.
Because I just literally got smacked in the head.
Your spine's out of alignment.
With steel chairs, razor wired my back, cut open, stitched up, and I'm back again tonight. And so that's why you started to see some of the stuff that they would use, like steel chairs or trash cans, would get a little thinner and they would get a little less practical. And nowadays they don't even really use that stuff pretty much at all. Yeah, I mean, you'll see ladder matches, which are probably the closest.
There's only one ladder match that matters.
What ladder match would that be?
What do you mean? The only ladder match? Dudley Boys?
The only ladder. So are you talking about the Dudley Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and Edge and Christian?
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
That ladder match. Do you remember when that was? Do you remember the event?
It
was a WrestleMania, no?
I want to say it was. It could have been, because I don't think it was a TLC. Like a TLC pay-per-view, because eventually they had TLC pay-per-views. It might have been a Survivor Series.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It might have been, yeah. And that's when those pay-per-views were like...
It was the first of its kind, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
the triple threat ladder match?
Yeah, the triple threat, because the first ever ladder match was Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon.
Oh, my God.
And that was like
that's a good one.
Epic, dude.
They dragged ass there at the end.
Yeah,
It went on for a long time, I think. I remember.
Yeah.
Razor Ramon, dude. Bad guy.
There's
I love it, dude. I love Razor.
There was really good parts in that whole match, but yeah, like you said, towards the end it kind of drags on. But I think they were just exhausted, dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's crazy that these dudes they're legit athletes, man.
To be able to
do that, you go out there and do that, buddy, and you tell me that your body doesn't hurt.
You'll die in the first 10 minutes, dude. Like
most
5 minutes.
Most people can't even do a 15-minute workout, let alone you think you're going to be getting thrown off the top rope,
bouncing back and forth between ropes,
300-pound elbow on your neck,
dude.
Get out of here, dude.
And so that's the thing, is like when people tell me, they're like, that's fake, right? Or like, oh, you still watch that? Because even as an adult, I still watch it today.
Oh, you're still set stupid?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm like, I almost have to just take a breath, and I'm just like,
whatever, dude.
Exactly, because to argue my point is you're falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, there you go.
They obviously don't watch it anymore. And nothing that I say is going to get them back into watching it.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you stopped watching it when you got older, it's going to be so much harder to get back into it, because the magic is gone. The feeling of that. And that's the thing that they're talking about, is because when you're a kid, you think everything is like super real, and you're like, oh my God, these guys are like flying off of buildings and ladders and taking chair shots. And you get older and you realize, okay, well, that's where he put his hand up, or that's where like he braced himself for the impact, or you hear them say, hey, I'm gonna Irish whip you, and then we're gonna do our finisher, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
You start to catch things as you get older. But for me, like you said earlier, the energy of being in that arena, or even watching it on TV when the crowd is just yes, and everybody's going crazy, and the roof is blowing off the stadium at WrestleMania, and the Undertaker comes out and that gong hits, like, you can't help but, and The Rock enters and he's like, know your role, shut your mouth, and he's just rock bottoming people, like, you can't help it, dude.
I think that definitely, like, when it comes to wrestling promos, 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era, which I think the climax.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era was the climax. But in the 80s, dude, especially with like cocaine, like and those dudes,
they were like just like
Macho Man,
super hyped up.
Macho Man, dude, his promos,
they're so sick.
You're talking about that energy, the promos.
Yeah.
Macho Man, dude.
Oh yeah, I got you for 3 minutes. He was just like, he was on another level, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And even Hulk Hogan, like
Ultimate Warrior, man.
That was the thing that I would see a lot, and each one of them, they would literally grab the mic from the dude who was interviewing, and they would start talking to the camera.
Yeah.
And they would just like get in the camera, which you're breaking the third wall, and it makes the audience who's viewing that just feel like they're there with you because you're literally talking to them.
It's amazing.
It's something else, dude, and I don't see a lot of people do that.
The
anymore.
90s got super risque too.
Dude,
remember
I was literally watching Matt. Oh no, Lita and Edge having like a sexual encounter in the middle of the ring, and I was like, I can't believe that this was on during.
Was that the one when Lita was in the bed?
Yeah, and she literally took her bra off and
threw it out.
Yeah, I was like,
dude, what about Mae Young? Was her name?
Mae Young.
Mae Young gave birth to a hand. That was when I was just like, yo, what are these dudes on?
Sexual chocolate.
Sexual
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry, dude. Sexual chocolate. Dude, I love that shit.
Some
Remember
epic stuff.
Val Venus, dude.
Yo, dude, Val Venus. Yeah. His literal gimmick was just him waving around his penis in a towel.
He was getting blowjobs on his intro video.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How did his intro go?
Yeah, it was something.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies. Yeah, it was like, and he would switch the hips, and I think that's where you got, what's that dude who does kind of the same thing? He's a really good wrestler, too. I've
Modern?
Blinked on his name, yeah.
I don't know.
He's like the longer hair, and he always does the super kick, just like Shawn Michaels, bleach blonde. I know who you're talking about.
What do you think about moves though? Because I know that now wrestling, it's
they're all getting recycled. That's
obviously they're getting recycled, and so you're having what one person would do, right? On at least on that network, one person would do something, and like Diamond Dallas Page, yo, dude, the DDT, amazing.
Yeah.
Who did the kick? I forgot his name. From WCW.
What kick? Like a big boot?
No, where the head's right here, and he.
Oh yeah. Faymaster.
Not Billy Gunn.
Okay, I thought that's who you're talking about.
No,
Billy Gunn did the Faymaster.
No.
Oh, Booker T.
Booker T.
Scissor kick.
Do you remember the
Scissor kick.
Booker T and Goldust fight in 7-Eleven? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that shit.
Coming to a town near you.
I loved it.
Yeah, dude. And so that was some of the epic stuff. Is they didn't always have to be in the ring.
And yeah,
there was one. I think it was Stone Cold and Kurt Angle. I want to say it was like in a convenience store or not a shopping mall, but it was like a grocery store, and they're literally throwing bananas and fruits at each other, and they're banging each other into like the produce stands, and it's just crazy.
The backstage ones too always had me like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what made it feel real, right? They wrestle in the ring, there's a story, but then to break up that feeling of, okay, this is all just written. Mm-hmm. Like they would just get attacked. Mm-hmm. Oh, hardcore. What was that?
Hardcore Holly.
Crash. Right?
Yeah, Crash Holly. And Hardcore Holly.
Hardcore Holly. I loved him because he would just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Backstage.
And the APA was always coming and fucking somebody up.
Dude.
Dang.
Oh man, wrestling was so good. It I don't know if it was just wrestling boomed at the time it did because there wasn't a lot, right? There wasn't a lot on TV, especially like that.
And then at a certain point, there was no one to challenge them because they had bought out WCW and ECW, and so that's when you really had like the growing of it. Like it was becoming epic because you had the wars, WCW and Monday Night Raw wars, and so it was like wrestling was on like everybody's television at that time.
Did you know anybody that was for WCW over WWF?
Oh yeah, some of my best friends they would watch both. But
of course, both. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think everybody was more like Raw, because there was a lot of people who would probably watch WCW and
dude,
that's
Scott Steiner.
That's
British
the
Bulldog,
thing is they had stuff that
great people.
WWF didn't have. Like,
do you know Scott Steiner? People hated wrestling him. Like
really?
Legit, he would spit on people. And he would literally hit you.
Yeah.
People, the wrestlers, hated getting matched up with Scott Steiner because nobody legit liked him because he took his persona out of the ring.
It was real for him.
He'll spit on you, dude. Yeah. He would spit on people. And you know what? I didn't believe that. I was reading some stuff, and I didn't believe. I went when WWE Network came out, and I watched a bunch of that old school stuff. right? And he was spitting on like Booker T and shit, and I was like, I don't think you can get away with that, dude. Especially not now.
No, nowadays,
You can't spit on the other guy. This is your colleague, dude. As much as the story, as much as the script runs, you're spitting on someone.
These
dude.
are your
Colleagues,
coworkers.
coworkers.
Yeah, your coworkers that you're working with.
You're traveling with
They're
them.
performing.
You know, you
And
guys
that was one of the main things is like people would actually get into real life backstage fights, backstage drama, because the other dude who they were paired with in the locker room they didn't like.
Yeah,
and
that's nuts.
And that's crazy. Because
I'm sure that showed in the ring.
Exactly. Yeah, you take it a little further. You actually punch him a little bit more, and and then that's when, so that creates that like intensity because holy shit, now it's not so much like, oh, they're pulling punches. Now they're actually decking the dude, and you're actually seeing blood, and people are actually getting broken noses. And
yeah, not all the blood you see on wrestling is fake.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
like
lot
cutting
where,
themselves. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot where, of course, it's supposed to be bloody, but like, yeah, people have literally gotten broken noses. And
did you like that wrestler movie?
Oh yeah, it was good. It was cool.
What's his name?
Dude, blanking. I watched it, and it was
I forgot his name.
Really good.
I love him as an actor, though. That was good, though, because, like I said, it
Yeah,
shows
I'm blanking
you.
on his name.
It shows you, and he did it on such a small level,
Yeah.
right? A local wrestling level, and I guess he was big at one point, but later in his career, it just shows you what it did to his body, right? It just breaks your body down,
that
dude.
Day in and day out, night after night,
Weight training,
city after city,
and slamming your body.
It's
on
crazy,
that ring,
dude.
Yeah, you're not leaving a lot of room for healing. You know
like
what I'm saying?
it's a dream, but to go through all that and have the mental fortitude and the tenacity and to have the ability to put on that show, even when your body's aching and your bones are broken and you're all bruised up, and to go out there night after night and still put on a show for the fans.
Yeah. It's nutty.
That's some real shit right there. You can't fake that.
What do you see the future of wrestling being? Do you see a big resurgence? Do you see it dying down? I know, like you said, the most recent WrestleMania had no audience.
It was crazy, dude.
What do you do with
to watch that?
That was without an audience.
Yeah. So without an audience is very, very different, and so they improvised on a lot, and I think that was like their first kind of like. Trying to go in a different direction. I think they took it a little more old school, where you had some behind the scenes like brawls, like the Undertaker match. It was in a totally different location.
Really?
But
they all the matches weren't at the same location?
No, like the Undertaker's. It was, so a lot of the stuff was pre-recorded, pre-filmed, but the way they filmed his match, it was almost like a cinematic like movie.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
It was like a whole experience, and it was so it was like something that you never really saw before, because it looked like a big production.
Literally like a Mortal Kombat fight.
Yes, dude. Yeah, that's the only thing that I can say. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
I'll
But
have to
it
watch
was
that.
It was literally like a Mortal Kombat.
Who do you wrestle?
It was Undertaker versus AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is from ECW, right?
So he did a stint in TNA. He was on TNA for a really long time, and
Tits
then
and ass.
and then he came to NXT for like a little bit, and then they bumped him up to WWF or WWE. And but that match, dude, that match had a lot of like the old school kind of like stuff, because you're no longer in a ring. There's no crowd, so you're having to keep everybody entertained while putting on this like show, but with no energy. How do you do that?
That's nutty.
How do you do that?
Hopefully that's not a thing that continues too long, because I really don't see that thriving without the crowd.
And I've seen, so there's a new company, AEW, which is contending with WWE right now. And I've seen them take it a step further as well, and they're having more like out of this world matches, different kind of settings. And so one recently that I saw, they went to an empty football stadium, and there was literally like 10 dudes fighting each other up and down the steps of the football stadium and jumping off like the goalpost and smacking each other and it was just
Really?
it was like pandemonium, but the way they were doing it was really
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that could be interesting. I could see more cinematic fights. Right, I know
Yeah.
WWE is already making movies.
Exactly.
They've
So they
been
have
for
the
a long
production.
time, so I can see that they could make it more dramatic, more cinematic. That could be cool, but just classic 4-corner rings wrestling. Hopefully that doesn't go away. Hopefully that stays. And at the end of the day, what is it? Is it WWF or is it WWE?
Oh, dude. For me, it's always going to be WWF.
Of course.
For me, but I'm still an avid watcher of WWE.
You're still watching it today.
Yeah, today. So the future, of course, is WWE. They're never going to go back to WWF. So I'll always be a fan of that. But where it lies, where it all goes back to, and this is what it's all about, is, WWF, back to the basics.
Yeah.
You got to get back to what got you there in the first place.
Yeah.
So for me, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. But what about you, man? What?
It's WWF still today.
There you go.
Jake the Snake was the biggest. It was that when I saw Jake the Snake as a kid, it changed the way I saw everything, because I'm fascinated when I see a giant in a ring, a giant beefcake. When I look at a comic book cover and I see Batman and he stands like 2 or 3 feet above a normal man, he's just so huge. I love these huge giant beefcakes, these personas, and when they clash, it's entertaining. And Jake the Snake kind of broke that for me, is when he just looked like a normal dude, kind of. He was big, but he was like 80s big, 70s big, and
little bit of fat, a little bit of muscle.
Yeah. When he would go into the ring, doesn't matter who he's facing, they're gonna run out like a little bitch, because he's got his snake, Jake the Snake. So to me, that kind of drew me in as a child, before the Attitude Era, and then obviously Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels would beat The Rock all day. So
we're gonna have a match right now just for that.
Let's turn the 64 on and play some.
Man. We're gonna fight for
play
that
some
belt.
No Mercy.
WCW NWO Revenge.
Favorite wrestling move before we wrap this up? The one wrestling move from the beginning of your fandom to today that is your favorite wrestling move of all time.
For me, a lot of it was the Walls of Jericho. I love doing the Walls of Jericho on people. As much as I love like the rock bottom and the people's elbow, I love doing those. But as a kid, man, I would just always either put people in the Walls of Jericho or the ankle lock. It was always a submission hold.
Really?
Yeah.
I always hated those. I hated them. I love the Boston Crab, which is Walls of Jericho. Is just like
it's literally the same thing.
Derivative of it, the way he kind of hits him on the kind of the collarbone, right?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Yeah.
Like that.
He's still on the back, but he's got like one leg, Boston Crab, and
I love the
arm
Boston
around
Crab.
so it's cool, man.
For me, it's a power bomb.
Oh.
I will literally take WWE and power bomb it through the eternal time and space continuum. The earth will shatter, okay? Do the big boot, boom, like Diesel, and just power bomb you, baby. That's it.
Get power bombed.
Get power bombed. We'll see you guys next Saturday. It's been fun.
Peace.
Later. That was pretty fun, talking about hardcore drugs and beefcakes.
Dude, that was sick. I was about to lay the smackdown on you during the episode.
You get power bombed into eternity, player.
That was a lot of fun, man. We could talk about wrestling all day. We could drop elbow bombs, choke slam each other.
Hey, you probably like it too.
Oh, man, if we had a ring. Ooh.
One day. That was a good time. And remember, guys, we do have our social medias. Follow us on all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So you can get power bombed by nostalgia.
Check us out. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Our podcast.
Also, our podcast for sure.
Yeah.
We also live stream over at twitch.tv/backtodybasics. And remember, video version of the podcast over on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Audio version on your favorite platform. So once again, we do appreciate it. And we got a lot of episodes coming. Are you excited?
I am super excited, dude. Like let's just let's just do this.
I was a little confused there for.
No, we gonna bust promos from here on out. We gonna carry this over to the next episode.
You got it, brother.
Till next time, get power bombed.
And we'll see you guys next Saturday morning. Stay nostalgic. Shit, I forgot our line. Oh yeah, stay nostalgic. On your
travel. And travel to the no, I don't. That's your line, dude.
No, okay, hold on.
Stay nostalgic.
I got you. Until next time, friends. Stay nostalgic on the eternal quest to get back.
There you go.
To the basics. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it and go beep.
Dude, that's hilarious.